What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick Auger and Mr. Matthew Wells here at the Body Lock. And today we're talking about Stephen A. Smith's comments regarding women in fighting. So if you haven't heard the news or seen this yet, his exact quotes was, or the main quote was, when I think about pugilistic sports, I don't like seeing women involved in that at all. I just don't like it. I wouldn't promote legislating laws to prohibit them from doing so, but I don't want to see women punching each other in the face. I don't want to see women fighting in the octagon and stuff like that, but that's just me. This has drawn a lot of criticism. Mr. Wells, what's your take on this?
There's a lot of ways I can, respond to this, but it's just ridiculous to even say this publicly. Like, if that's your personal feelings, I guess that's fine if you want to be that bigoted and closed-minded about women and their ability to compete and, do what they want in athletics. Women fighters are amazing. This is the first thing that comes to mind immediately when I see somebody say this. Fight of the year last year, Joanna versus Weili Zhang. Incredible fight. Highly skilled athletes. Incredibly talented. There's so many different things we can say about, the women that we watch week in and week out, especially in the UFC, especially when it comes to, the highest level female boxers like Clarissa Shields, for example. These are incredibly talented women. And I don't understand how your mind goes to that when you see them compete. I just don't get it. I mean, maybe if it was just too unskilled, completely, even then it's listen, human beings, they're going to fight. That's just a thing. We always see people fight. We've seen all sorts of fights coming up through high school and whatnot, girls fighting girls trying to get in guys' face, whatever. But that's just part of human nature, right? Is conflict and conflict resolution. And it's something completely different, especially when we're talking about professional athletes. I just don't understand this level of thinking and why your mind would go there to even say that at this point in 2021, when it's everything that we do socially is all about equality and inclusion. To say this now, especially now, is just asinine. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people asking, essentially, are these comments sexist? Right? He said, oh, that's just me. It's just my opinion. He pretty much laid that out there. But a lot of people say, well, are these actual sexist comments then? The answer is 100% yes. I mean, if he had said, oh, I don't like seeing blood. I don't like watching fighting, all of that type of thing. That'd be one thing. But he specifically said, I don't like women fighting each other. I don't like them engaging physically. That is a antiquated view, as you mentioned, that, we're in 2021 here. And I get people not wanting to see the blood. I get people saying, fighting's not my thing. I don't that's fine. I totally understand that. I have friends and family like that. I don't try and force it on them. I don't say, oh, you've got to watch this, all that stuff. No. But if you're going to watch two men fight, there isn't really a reason you shouldn't watch two women fight, especially given, the high quality of women's MMA. As you mentioned, Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk, fight of the year last year, almost unanimous across media outlets, MMA media outlets. It was nuts. So I don't know why these comments are being said. And there's this defense as well that, oh, that's just me. That's just, my thoughts. And that's fine. You are entitled to your opinion. I would agree with that. If you got those opinions, okay, you're entitled to that opinion. But when you have a platform as large as Stephen A. Smith is, you have to be mindful of comments that are made. It's the double-edged sword of fame and being more of a star, which Stephen A. is you can't just go out there and people want to rag on Joe Rogan for saying some of the stuff he says on his podcast. You can't say that about Joe Rogan and then not say it about Stephen A. when he's making these comments.
Yeah, and Stephen A. is a different type of, sports personality. He's the shock jock screaming, screaming at the top of his lungs on just to go viral is essentially this, the type of stuff that he does. and he says outlandish stuff all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if these comments were prompted just to do exactly what's happening now, is to get everyone talking about Stephen A. Smith again, especially considering he just has a new show on ESPN Plus, blah, 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 that we saw all over, ESPN broadcasts over the past few weeks. So that wouldn't surprise me at all, but it's really unfortunate because it just shows that there are a lot of people that think like this when you look at some of the reactions. And then actually go to bat for Stephen A. Smith in this, because like you said, if you have an issue with combat sports in general, that's one thing. My mom, for example, will not watch fighting with me, no matter like how many times I try. And like, I gave up eventually, I was like trying to get her to watch the best of the best compete. And she was just like, no, I'm not interested. I'm not into it. I don't want to see the blood. I don't want to see any of that. But when you specifically call out the women competitors as if they belong in doing softer things and that sort of stuff, like they shouldn't be in there punching each other in the face. Like, why not? They're human beings. They signed up for it. They trained for it. They worked their asses off for it. There's money to be made. Listen, one of the biggest stars in UFC history is Ronda Rousey, right? Amanda Nunes now. I mean, just dominating. Like it's incredible the amount of personalities and talent that have proven themselves over the years. And we're not even 10 years in with the UFC having women compete. We're not even at 10 years yet. Ronda Rousey's first fight in the UFC was 2013, I believe. So, I mean, this is still very new. And you just go back and think like all of the successes that have occurred in that short period of time. It's incredible. So I really hate that, over the past however many hours, go on Twitter, you go on any social media app, and you see all of these greats going to bat, like condemning Stephen A. Smith, Chris Cyborg, Julie Kedzie, for example, as I mentioned earlier, Clarissa Shields, all of them going up to bat, even, Angela Hill, like I'm just going down the list here of what I see on my screen right now. Laura Sanko, for example, I mean, she's a fantastic personality on air as well for ESPN and, the UFC. And it's like, how can you be on the same broadcast network with someone that thinks like this and that has actually covered events? They put Stephen A. Smith on events. I don't know if he's the one that, volunteered himself or if he was voluntold to go do these events. I don't know how that worked out per se behind the scenes, but it's painfully obvious he doesn't belong there. So, give me anybody else besides Stephen A. Smith talking about combat sports, especially if he's going to be saying stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, all great points. And yes, you got so many women fighters calling him out or people in the business calling him out. You got to wonder. I think the $1 million question here, at least to, sum up this topic is, will Stephen A. apologize? Do we believe that Stephen A. will apologize? And before we get to that, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so you know when we're dropping the hottest videos if you like this content, and let us know your thoughts on Stephen A.'s comments as well. But Matt, I mean, in the end here, will Stephen A. apologize, whether it's of his own volition or whether just due to pressure he'll do it? Do you believe he'll end up apologizing for these comments?
Hell no. Hell no. What he's going to do is he's going to throw a teaser out there and say he's going to address it, and then he's going to double down and attempt to re-clarify what he was stating. And all of that he's going to try to do just to, again, bring more views to his platform. It's in the Stephen A. Smith playbook because we've seen it time and time again. If you paid attention to things that he's done and said in his career, like especially like really controversial things, like this is right up his playbook. I guarantee that's what's going to happen if he does address it again. He's just going to reiterate that it's not for me. Like I said, it's not for me. I don't want them to have the legislation against it or anything like that, which, listen, of course that's not going to happen. But let's not forget the other point that he also made that, he doesn't believe that men should be or women should be fighting men either. And correct me if I'm wrong, but which UFC fight or which MMA fight pitted men against a woman?
UFC done, although there was that Russia fight where the woman that just got signed by Bellator, right, knocked out the dude. So woman won. Didn't really take any damage, I don't think, or at least not much.
Yeah.
So,
but listen. When it comes to the more well-regulated aspect of mixed martial arts, especially in the UFC, for example, the only time we ever hear even a hint of that is when Dana White is doing ridiculous stuff like, "Oh, I'll make Amanda Nunes go fight Jake Paul." Like, that's as close as we get to it. Other than that, like, yeah, well, of course, and when Ronda was like, "Oh, I'll fight Floyd Mayweather," all stupid stuff that obviously was never going to happen. So it's like, yeah, we can just throw out ridiculous hypotheticals all day. But yeah, just to even, like, I don't even understand how you get to that point. Like, that's not happening. That's not on the horizon. Like, that's not even a thing that was ever going to happen, or like I said, be promoted in a well-regulated environment. So I just don't, I'm just not with it, man. I'm not with it. I can't roll Stephen A. Smith on this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll end up pulling a bit of a McGregor champ, right? I apologize, and then say for my comments being misconstrued or something of that nature. As you mentioned, he's done it time before, and I think that's what we're gonna, get. So again, let us know in the comments how you felt about his comments. How you do you think that Stephen A. should apologize for this? Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? Let us know how you feel about it. And to tie a bow on this one, I know you mentioned men and women not going to fight each other, but I do want to point out that Robert Whittaker recently said that he would fight Megan Anderson if the UFC allowed it, and he said that Megan would probably kick his ass because of the rage. So there you go.
Yeah, well, we know that's not true. We all know that's not true. We know how that would play out. But do me a favor, producer Jake, if you could overlay the video of Stephen A. Smith hitting pads that went viral, because he could definitely take a few notes from a lot of the women that train in combat sports, because I would wager a good amount of them would also kick his ass with these. So.
Yeah, make it more free. Yeah, push. Come on. Come on, it's your last round.
Yeah,
whatever the fuck he was doing.